Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. In today's video, I'll be using Spellbinders Bayfair collection. I recently shared an unboxing video showing the different items from Spellbinders Bayfair collection. I have the card making kit and also the coordinating ephemera pack. And I'll be using all of these items to make 10 cards. If you're interested in any of the products, I do have links in the description box below. I will be using some card sketches for inspiration. The first sketch is from MFT. This is number 81. And if you're interested in any of the sketches, including measurements, I share all of that information on my coordinating blog post. The link is in the description box below, or you can simply head over to KristieMarcotte.com. For my first card, I selected 4 pattern papers. 2 of them are a tone-on-tone design. One has a busier floral pattern, and the very background is white with a gold foil geometric pattern. I'll layer 3 of the pieces on some dark blue cardstock, and this is cardstock from my stash. Spellbinders did release a coordinating cardstock pack that works with the Bayfair collection. I just don't have it, so I dug around in my stash. For the larger rectangle, I used the blue tone-on-tone pattern. For the piece that goes across the card, this features the lovely floral pattern. After layering it on the dark blue cardstock, I'll first add a scrap cardstock piece on the right and left side where it goes off of that blue floral piece, and that'll help keep it at the same level. Then I'll layer the background on the same dark blue cardstock, put ATG tape on the back, and add my card front onto a card base. Next, I'll add the red floral tone-on-tone piece, and this time I'll layer it on some red cardstock. Before adhering it down, I'll put that scrap cardstock piece at the very top where it goes off of the floral piece. Then I'll adhere it more on the right side of the card. I selected this lovely floral ephemera piece with the 3 large blooms inside a vase, and I did pop it up with some foam dimension. I'll remove the release paper, adhere the ephemera piece. For a sentiment, I'm using one of the Puffy stickers. It has a sentiment special to me. I'll be adhering it on the left side of the floral ephemera piece, and since there's all those other layers, I will pop it up with some foam dimension. But I'm only putting the foam dimension on the very left side. The very right side of the sentiment will sit on top of the floral ephemera piece. After placing it on top, I realized I need to add just a tiny bit more dimension on the left side. So I'm cutting a small scrap piece of cardstock. Then I'll place the sentiment on the card, run my finger across it, and now it feels like it's at the right level. I'll put adhesive on the back and adhere it in place. But once I did adhere it down, it felt like the very right side of the sentiment was dipping down just a tiny bit, so I will add just a teeny tiny piece of scrap cardstock underneath. I'll hold that tiny piece with a pair of reverse tweezers, put barely art glue on the back, and pop it underneath the very right side of the sentiment. For a final finishing touch, I'll add the camera button embellishment that's included in the kit. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 1. For card number 2, the card sketch is from CARDSTOCK. This is sketch number 49. I've been using this sketch quite a bit lately. It's quickly becoming one of my favorites. For this card, I selected 3 pattern papers. For the background, it's white and blue with a geometric pattern. And for the 2 smaller rectangle pieces, one of them features the lovely floral design and the other is blue with white dragonflies. For the background piece, I used some white shimmer cardstock, and I'm layering everything on some dark blue cardstock. At the bottom of the blue and white geometric pattern, I'm adding a strip of the dark blue cardstock, and just for a little bit of shine, I'll put a Love from Lizzie peel off along the edge of that blue strip. I'm using the blue holographic color in the pinstripe style. I'll wrap the ends around the back, then layer this piece on the dark blue cardstock. I love adding lots of cardstock layers to my cards. Now I'll layer the background piece on the same dark blue cardstock, put ATG tape on the back, and add my card front onto a card base. All of my cards in this video are American Standard A2 size, 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. For my cardstock layers, I generally add an additional 1/8 of an inch. If you prefer a wider matting, you could add an additional 1/4 of an inch. Next, I'll add the floral rectangle piece down first, and I'll adhere that down with some glue. Before adhering the dragonfly pattern paper, I'll be putting those scrap cardstock pieces on the back side, just in the area where it goes off of that blue strip and also the floral rectangle. For the scrap cardstock pieces, I usually just grab whatever's sitting on my craft table. I think this time I have some 120-pound cardstock. It's a heavyweight cardstock that I use for my card bases. I crease my own card bases. Sometimes my daughter helps me. I use a manual creasing machine, super easy. At one point, the settings were moved just slightly, and I ended up with a stack of card bases that were creased about 1/4 of an inch off, so they wouldn't work for card bases. I've slowly been working through that stack of cardstock. I use it for sentiments and also scrap pieces of cardstock to add those extra layers. For a sentiment on the card, I'm using one of the chipboard stickers. These do have adhesive on the back, but I'm adding a little bit of glue just to make sure they stay in place. And for a final finishing touch, I'll add 3 of the Dragonfly Puffy stickers. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 2. For card number 3, the card sketch is from Sugar Pea Designs. This is Sugar Sketch number 33. For the background of the card, I'm using pattern paper with lighthouses and sailboats all over it. For the narrow strip that goes at the bottom of the card, using more of the white with blue geometric pattern. I also cut out a narrow strip the same size from some dark blue cardstock. I'll use a pair of scissors and cut the angle on the right and left side. Then I'll adhere the 2 pieces together, creating a dark blue drop shadow underneath the pattern paper piece. I'll put adhesive on the back and adhere it toward the bottom of the card. Now I'll layer the background on the same dark blue cardstock, put ATG tape on the back, and add my card front onto a card base. Now on the card sketch, there are 3 circle elements. I won't be adding any circles. Instead, I'm adding 5 of the ephemera pieces. In the very center, I have a beach house with a bicycle in front. On the right side, I'm adding a lobster and a camera. And on the left side, I have a pink sailboat and a blue striped swimsuit. I'll adhere the beach house down first with some glue. For the other 4 ephemera pieces, I am popping them up with some foam dimension. I'm using some small square foam from scrapbook.com. This is their 1mm thickness foam, so it adds just that tiny bit of dimension. I'll put the lobster on the very right side. The camera will go in front. At first I put foam dimension behind all of the camera image, but some of it will be sitting on top of the lobster, so I did remove those foam pieces, and I'll add a little bit of glue in the area where it sits on the lobster. Next I'll add the pink sailboat all the way on the left side, then I'll put the swimsuit next to it. And I made sure not to add any foam in the area where it sits on the other ephemera pieces. For a sentiment, I'm adding the word smile, and this is one of the chipboard stickers. When I removed the sticker from the plastic backing, part of it did rip off, but no worries, I'll just put a little bit of glue on the back and adhere it in the lower right-hand corner. For a final finishing touch, using a small piece of blue cardstock, I'll cut a banner and adhere it in the upper left-hand corner. I'll first cut a fishtail on the bottom, Then I'll cut the right side in slightly at an angle, do the same thing on the other side. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 3. For card number 4, the card sketch is from Sugar Pea Designs. This is Sugar Sketch number 19. I selected 3 different pattern papers for the card. For the large panel on the left side of the card, using this beautiful floral paper, and I'll round all 4 corners using a punch from Spellbinders. I'll also round the corners of the black cardstock layer. For the background of the card, using pattern paper with a bunch of different words, adored, bloom, smile, memorable, I'll add a strip of white and green striped paper toward the top, and for a little bit of separation and shine, I'm putting a Love from Lizzie peel off along the edge of that green and white strip, using the gold color in the pinstripe style. Since most of that will be covered up, I was able to use some of the smaller scrap pieces of peel-offs. I'll wrap the end around the back, layer this piece on some red cardstock, then I'll layer it again on some black cardstock. The background pattern paper piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and each of the cardstock layers is an additional 1/8 of an inch. Put ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base. Now I'll add the floral piece on the left side of the card. When I was prepping the cards, to make sure I didn't lose all those small sticker and die cut pieces, I kept everything in Spellbinders medium-size craft stack trays. I love that they fit an A2 size card. The trays include a lid that you can also use as a narrow tray. I'll add a stitch circle die cut, and I use some white shimmer cardstock. I'll first add a small scrap piece of cardstock on the right side of this circle just to make sure it stays nice and level. Now I'll add a pink floral ephemera piece. I'll glue that down in the center of the circle. And for sentiment, I'm adding one of the Puffy stickers. This is the word smile. There are 2 pieces for the sentiment. The capital S is separate from the rest of the word. I'll put glue on the back and adhere the sentiment right on top of the pink floral image. For embellishments, I'm adding more Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the mini circle style in the gold color. I'll put 3 in the upper right-hand corner and 2 in the lower left-hand corner. After pulling out this sheet of the mini circles, I realize it's almost gone. I have just the large and medium circles left. I'm hoping I still have another sheet or 2 in my stash. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 4. For card number 5, the card sketch is from OWH. This is number 219. This has always been one of my favorite sketches, but I realized I haven't used it in a very long time. I selected 3 pattern papers. For the very background, I'm using the light blue with white dragonflies. For this strip at the bottom of the card, I have the tone-on-tone pink, red floral design. And for the large panel in the center of the card, has lots of tiny little flowers. I'll layer everything on some dark blue cardstock. For the narrow strip that goes across the card, I'm using the same dark blue cardstock. And I did put some double-sided adhesive tape on the back of that strip to adhere down. I'll put ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. Now I will be changing up this card sketch just a little bit. I'll add the circle on the left side. I used a stitch circle die and some white shimmer cardstock. Glue that down. And instead of the 3 small circle images, I'm adding another ephemera piece. This has a floral image and it looks like a little postage stamp. I did pop that up with some foam dimension. On the circle, I'm adding one of the floral ephemera pieces, and I believe this is the same piece I used on the first card. The ephemera pack has 2 of each of all of the pieces. And for a sentiment, I'm adding You've Got This. It's one of the chipboard stickers. I'll first put a scrap cardstock piece on the right side, Then adhere it on the right side of the vase with the 3 flowers. And I'm tucking the very left side of that sentiment piece behind the vase. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 5. For card number 6, the card sketch is from OWH. This is number 183. I selected 3 pattern papers. For the background, there's lots of floral images. For the large strip on the left side of the card, using a green tone-on-tone pattern. And for the wide strip that goes across the card, using more of the blue with white dragonfly design. Layer everything on some dark blue cardstock. And I believe this blue cardstock is from a pack that I purchased at my local craft store. Before adhering the dragonfly strip, I will add a scrap piece of cardstock on the very right side where it goes off of that green panel. Then I'll put adhesive on the back and adhere it in place. Sometimes when I cut those strips that go across the card, they're a little bit too long. I simply flip over the panel, use my scissors, and trim off the overhang. Now I'll layer the background piece on the same dark blue cardstock, put ATG tape on the back, and add my card front onto a card base. On the card sketch, there's a square image on that green panel. I'll be adding some of the chipboard stickers. I'll first add the pink and white Polaroid frame, and inside that frame there's a floral image that has B is for blooming. I will remove that little center piece, so now it really looks like that floral piece is in the frame. For embellishments, I'll add 3 of the mini circle peel-offs in gold. I'll put them in the upper right-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 6. For card number 7, the card sketch is from OWH. This is number 231. I pulled out several OWH sketches for this video since I realized I haven't been using them recently. This card will feature 3 different pattern papers. For the background, I'm using the white and pink stripe paper. For the panel on the right side, have more of the green floral tone-on-tone. And for the strip on the left side, using some of the blue grid with small floral images. I'll layer the floral piece and the background piece on some red cardstock, put ATG tape on the back, and add my card front onto a card base. I am changing up this sketch just a little bit. I won't be adding that narrow strip at the very bottom. I will be using one of the larger floral ephemera pieces, and I did pop it up using some thin foam dimension. For a sentiment, I'll be adding birthday wishes. Earlier this year, I used Spellbinders curved sentiments hot foil plate and hot foiled and cut out quite a few sentiments, and I have them all stored in one of their craft stack trays. Since I had my Glimmer machine on, I figured I may as well go and hot foil up a bunch of sentiments. That way when I need one, it's all ready to go. I did put foam dimension behind this sentiment, just in the areas where it goes off of the floral ephemera piece. Then I'll put glue on the back of the rest of the sentiment and adhere it at the bottom of the floral ephemera image. For a final finishing touch, I'll add 2 of the mini circle peel-offs in gold in the upper right-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 7. For card number 8, the card sketch is from Sketch Saturday. This is number 349. This is a really fun sketch with the interesting sort of wonky panel. I selected 2 pattern papers. For the very background, it has some red splotches with white. And for that wonky piece in the front, I selected this fun design with red, white, and pink birds. Plus there are a few little tiny gold foil polka dots. I layered the bird pattern paper on some red cardstock, put adhesive on the back. I'll adhere that panel on the front of the card. The top and left side will go off the edge. I'll simply flip over the panel, use my scissors, and trim off the extra. And before layering the background piece, I did check some of those corner areas, and if I noticed they weren't attached, I put a little bit of glue underneath. Then I'll layer this piece on the same red cardstock. Put ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. For a sentiment, I'll be using one of the Puffy stickers. The sentiment is, "It's a wonderful day." I'll add a small scrap piece of cardstock on the very right side. Then put glue on the back and adhere it in place. I'm also adding 2 of the blue bird ephemera pieces, and I did pop them up with some foam dimension. The smaller bird will go above the sentiment, and its lower wing will sit on that sentiment strip. The larger bird will go underneath the sentiment on the left side of the card. For a final finishing touch, I'll use more of the mini circle peel-offs in gold. I'm putting 3 large circles in the lower left-hand corner and 2 medium circles in the upper right-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 8. For card number 9, using another OWH sketch, this is number 200. I selected 3 pattern papers for this card, using the pink and red floral paper for the background. And for that wide strip that goes across the card, I have some of the floral paper with a grid in the background, and that narrow strip I'm using the white and pink pattern paper. I'll layer everything on some dark red cardstock. I'll put the floral piece down first, then add that narrow strip on top, and I did put some double-sided adhesive tape behind that narrow strip. I find it easier to adhere that way. For a little bit of separation and shine, I will add a Love from Lizzie peel-off between those 2 pieces using the gold color in the pinstripe style, and this is the narrowest width. I'll wrap the ends around the back, adhere this piece more toward the top of the card, and I am following the card sketch fairly closely. Now I'll layer my background piece on the same dark red cardstock. Put ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base, leaving 1/8 of an inch of the white card base showing. And of course I did run out of ATG tape, so I needed to pause the video and refill. For the image panel on the left side of the card, I used some white shimmer cardstock, and for the layer I'm using more of that dark red cardstock. I'll adhere the 2 pieces together. Before adhering that down, I will add those scrap cardstock pieces at the top and bottom. I'll flip over the image panel, that way I know how big of a scrap cardstock piece I need to add. Then I'll put glue on the back and adhere it on the left side of the card. Even though I am using white scrap cardstock pieces, you won't be able to see them from the front of the card. I'll be adding one of the large floral ephemera pieces. I believe I used this same ephemera image on a previous card. I'll put glue on the back and adhere it on the white image box. For a sentiment, I'm using another Puffy sticker. This is "Friends Like You Are Rare." I'll add a scrap cardstock piece on the right side of the sentiment. Just the very left side of the sentiment will be sitting on the image box and floral ephemera piece. Then I'll put glue on the back. I was trying to decide where I wanted to place the sentiment. I didn't like how it looked at the bottom as indicated on the card sketch, so I am placing it just a little bit higher. For a final finishing touch, I'll add another ephemera piece, this time a yellow butterfly. And I did pop it up with some foam dimension. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 9. For card number 10, the card sketch is from Freshly Made Sketches. This is number 638. I selected this beautiful floral paper for the background. For this small rectangle piece in the upper right-hand corner, using more of the light blue and white dragonfly pattern paper, I'll be layering the 2 pattern paper pieces on some dark blue cardstock, and I'm also adding a narrow strip of the green tone-on-tone floral piece underneath the dragonfly pattern paper, offsetting it just slightly on the right side. At the bottom of the floral paper, I'll add a couple of Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the gold color in the pinstripe style. I'm using the widest width. I'll put 2 of them about an inch up from the bottom of the panel. Wrap the ends around the back. Layer this piece on the dark blue cardstock. Put ATG tape on the back and add my card front onto a card base. Next, I'll add a couple of the ephemera pieces using the large pink flower and also one of the gold foliage pieces. I'll adhere the 2 ephemera pieces together, then pop it up with some foam dimension, and I'll be adhering it in place of the circle element that's on the sketch, although I'm placing it more on the left side. For a sentiment, I'm adding Bloom and Grow, and this is one of the Puffy stickers. The left side of the sentiment will sit on the large pink flower. Before adhering it down, I will put some foam dimension on the right side of the sticker. I'm adding some narrow strips of foam. These are 1/8 of an inch and they're a 2 millimeter thickness. Then I'll put glue on the back and adhere it in place. And I did realize I also need to add a small scrap piece of cardstock on the left side. For a final finishing touch, I'll add more Love from Lizzie peel-offs. This is the mini circle style in gold. I'll put 2 large circles in the upper right-hand corner of the dragonfly pattern paper. I debated about adding a couple more peel-offs underneath the flower on the left side, but decided to stick with just the 2 circles in the upper right-hand corner. So there is my finished card, and this is card number 10. Now here's another look at the 10 cards I made using Spellbinders' Bayfair collection. This is a beautiful collection. I used the card making kit along with the coordinating ephemera pack. It's also available in a scrapbooking kit that has 12 by 12 paper and a few other elements. You can purchase the kits or you can buy all of the items individually. If you're interested in any of the products, I do have links in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.